Welcome to What Are We Talking About with Jamie Jakes. I am him. This is Boston. There's a cat nearby. The candles are lit, and we are here to talk to you about why in the world there are so many people so upset about Baker Mayfield right now, especially from the Browns organization. Now, where all this controversy started was Baker Mayfield for the Red River rivalry here in Dallas, Texas, where I am recording, literally 6 minutes from my house here in Texas, was on an interview with Pat McAfee. I was actually there live on Friday to precede College Game Day, the live ESPN production that Pat McAfee Show does before the college football games happen. Baker Mayfield was asked what the hell happened with Cleveland, basically, which is a fair question. I think we were all kind of wondering that. And Baker Mayfield said, "Hey, Pat, I'm as confused as you are." And surprising to me, a lot of people, a lot of Browns fans in particular, were very upset about it. If you haven't seen the video, I'll link it to the description, and I'll link some of the things I saw on my feed on X that I was very taken aback by. I thought we were on good terms as an organization with Baker Mayfield, talking about Browns fans in particular. And it seems like that had triggered a lot of Browns fans a lot more than I was expecting. I think Browns fans as a whole are kind of like the stupidest football fans in the world. So I kind of wanted to just sit here for a second and kind of unpack exactly what I think was going on with this whole situation and just kind of take it all the way back to the very beginning with Baker Mayfield, who is having a pretty good day after his Sooners put the beat down on the kids from Austin, University of Texas. So, Baker Mayfield gets drafted first overall to the organization, where we all saw him on Hard Knocks get coached by probably one of the worst head coaches of all times, Hugh Jackson, right? After that, or during that season when he came in, after Tyrod Taylor goes down, primetime TV against the Jets, Baker Mayfield comes in, wins the game, wins the hearts of the Cleveland Browns fan base, who were dying for a win. They hadn't seen a win in, I think, over a year. There was a reason they had that first overall draft pick to get him over there in the first place. Has a good season, breaks the rookie touchdown passing record, okay? Which was then later on broken by Justin Herbert, who we can all agree is good at football, okay? After that season, who's his next head coach? Freddie Kitchens. Season's a whole total disaster. Great roster. Freddie Kitchens really had a Ferrari, and he just ran that Ferrari right into the median with how poorly that team operated that season. Then what happened? Coach Stefanski gets hired. Kind of a controversial hiring. He was kind of like the last coach still available that was kind of in the running for these head coaching positions. That was like the McCarthy year, where he ended up going to the Cowboys. And I think a lot of Cleveland Browns fans were looking forward to him being the head coach. Baker Mayfield proceeds after the Freddie Kitchens year to have a top 10, definitely top 12 quarterback performance on that season. He was easily the 12th best quarterback in that season. I think that's what a lot of people forget, is his rookie year, he was incredible. His sophomore year was bad. His head coach was Freddie Kitchens. His third season, he basically earned Coach Stefanski head coach of the year. He won a playoff game in Pittsburgh to solidify his legend status as a Cleveland Browns quarterback. And that's where I was so confused when I'm seeing all this hate for Baker Mayfield for what he said, a throwaway comment about how he was confused about what happened in Cleveland too. And he said, "No, I'm just kidding." And he kind of finished his actual statement. Saw a lot of Browns fans saying like, "Oh, he was just average." And I think that's kind of a problem with a lot of like dumb football fan teams, is they don't know football. They don't know anything outside of the scope of their division, right? Because they've seen Lamar Jackson is not a great passer on average year after year. He's having a great year so far this year in 2023. We've seen the corpse of Ben Roethlisberger towards the end of his career, and then Kenny Pickett, who's looked very, very mediocre in his first 2 years as a starter over there for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And then we've seen one really good quarterback. Joe Burrow has been like a top 5 quarterback perennially up until this year, coming off of his calf injury. He's looked really, really bad. That offense has looked really, really bad as well. Okay? So he has a top 12 quarterback performance, and then in 2020, and then 2021 gets off to another hot start. That's another thing that people forget. First 2 games, he was lighting the world on fire. He broke his shoulder in 2021. The whole situation imploded. He didn't probably have the best weapons he had available. Coach Stefanski ran him out of town by making him throw the football 50 times with a broken shoulder, without Nick Chubb on the field, without OBJ, because OBJ got traded out of town. Seems like after all of this fiasco, that Stefanski was kind of on the side of OBJ, which is kind of funny now looking back at it. And now we're going to talk about his receivers, right? Because this is going to come into where we're headed, where he's at right now at Tampa. Jarvis Landry, OBJ were his top 2 receivers, both of whom seem to be very unhappy with his performance late in his career. Where are they now? 2 years later, after this giant fiasco, after this giant blow up in 2021. OBJ, to his credit, went and won a Super Bowl with the LA Rams. He was involved in the Super Bowl win. That's the reason he got the ACL injury in the Super Bowl, it was on a catch. And then he goes, becomes a free agent, and now OBJ is currently like the 3rd or 4th string when everybody's healthy for the Ravens. Jarvis Landry, no longer on a football team, basically retired, still a free agent, still looking to get signed. He's not on the team. So maybe that wide receiver crew was not quite as good as we originally had thought that wide receiver crew was. Now where is Baker Mayfield? So we went to the Panthers, which now we're seeing another first overall quarterback not be able to produce over there. And then Baker Mayfield went to the Rams, impressed the coach there, Sean McVay. He said he's a genius. He learned the playbook overnight. We've never seen anything like this before. And that's a coach who's worked with Matt Stafford, took Matt Stafford to a Super Bowl and won it. A highly respected coach, highly respects Baker Mayfield and what he's done for the LA Rams in a short-term start position. Ended up winning a big game on prime time in front of all of us on Christmas. Okay? Baker Mayfield gets signed to the Bucs. Is he the starter there? Not quite. He's got to earn the starting position. Baker Mayfield earns the starting position. And now the whole point of this video is to tell you that now that Baker Mayfield is in the best situation he has ever been in, now Baker Mayfield is leading the league in a lot of stats that are very important when you're at football quarterback and you want to win some football games, okay? What's happening on in Cleveland now? After all of that, they signed Deshaun Watson, which we all know his background. He gets suspended after the organization told everybody that they had done his due diligence on him. He gets suspended for 11 games that season, basically a throwaway season, even though Jacoby Brissett plays well. Deshaun Watson comes in after Jacoby Brissett, and he looks way worse than Jacoby Brissett. The team looks way worse, even though they were still in playoff contention, technically, when Deshaun Watson's suspension ended. So now we're starting to see why all of these fans were so triggered by the fact that Baker Mayfield made a little slight comment on ESPN on Friday morning when he is on a bye week, and he is leading his team, is now 3-1 after we watched Tom Brady with basically the same exact team. Granted, the offensive line's maybe a little bit more injured last year. Mike Evans is looking incredible, but it's the same basic offense, the same basic defense, the same coaching staff that we saw Tom Brady extraordinarily fail with last year. Now we're seeing Baker Mayfield succeed with this team, and I think that is why Baker Mayfield got a lot of hate, because I think a lot of Cleveland Browns fans are very insecure with where their organization is at. When we saw Baker Mayfield play with a broken shoulder all last year, Deshaun Watson had a bruised shoulder, didn't practice all week, showed up game day, looked Coach Stefanski in his face and said, I can't go because my shoulder is sore, even though I have a bye week in week 5, the same bye week as Baker Mayfield, ironically. So there you have it. Let me know if I missed anything. I know we had the whole Daniel Jones fiasco where Baker Mayfield kind of said something bad about Daniel Jones getting signed to a massive contract, and now that looks kind of bad because Baker Mayfield is not getting paid nearly as much. But now we're seeing Baker Mayfield perform a lot better than Daniel Jones now, and I think he might be on track to get a massive paycheck after the season is over. Let me know if I missed anything. Let me know what you think. Are we horns up? Are we horns down? Are you one of the people who were triggered? Were you triggered for a different reason? Let me know in the comments section. Please subscribe to the channel. Leave a like if you liked it. My name's Jamie Jakes. Good night.